Aloha everyone, this is Leimomi Keliikuli Intuitive Soul and Mindset Coach here. And so today we are here with Sapna and for my LeimomiTV interview series of Mastering Your Soul, Your Superpower. And so I'm really excited to invite her because she has been taking some of my courses, my programs, and have gotten her blueprints. So a lot of amazing changes has happened aligning to her superpower. And so today we're going to talk about waking up to your power. So why don't you share with us, tell us more about who you are, what you do, how did you really become a master genius of what you do now?
Wow, I'm so happy to be here, first of all. This is great, and it's such a special day because it's Leimomi's birthday. She probably won't tell anyone, so I'm telling everyone happy birthday.
Thank you.
Yeah, my name is Sapna. I'm Kenyan Indian. I was born and brought up in Nairobi in Kenya, and I guess I've been a healer for many years in my life, and I kind of started doing this at quite a young age, which was a bit strange for people because they would look at me strangely and just sort of say, what are you talking about? Whereas I knew I was absolutely 100% right about what I was saying, and had this very deep conviction about the truth, ultimately, I think, from a really young age. And I guess, that really deep knowing of who I am and the stuff that I would see around me brought me to this place of wanting to discover more about what that is, and be able to come from a place of knowledge as opposed to just intuition only, because people were not really ready to just accept it as someone's intuition or someone's instinct, especially someone so young. For some reason that makes like a really big difference for people, is that you somehow need to be gray and like old and have all wrinkles to be able to really tell a story like this. And so for me it was really a lot about a search for knowledge and this quest that I felt that I needed to fulfill in myself to inform myself and to understand it better, so that I could understand myself better, I think. Yeah.
I love how you kind of went into your journey of like helping your mind to understand things and then allowing that to unfold as a healer, and teaching it from that perspective, not just only the intuition. Yeah. So when you were growing up, like what lit you up? Like how does that play into who you have become today?
Wow. I think for me, I don't know, I ended up being in these really interesting situations when I was growing up. I think for me, the first time it really happened was around 10 or 11 years old, where I would be in these places where I saw sources, miracles around me. Like I saw these very, I guess, holy, I don't know what to call them really. They're sort of holy happenings in a way. When I was 11 years old, the avatar Sai Baba came to my best friend's home here in Nairobi, Kenya. And, out of the pictures of Lord Shiva and our Hindu gods and goddesses, this holy water would just be flowing out of the photographs, and it would be, we would have boxes collecting holy ash, and, at night they would be empty, and in the morning they would be completely full. And so all these miracles kept happening around me. And with that, I was kind of, I guess, the presence of the divine was so cemented that those are the things that lit me up. And then because of those experiences, I couldn't deny that to myself anymore. And because of that, I just had to, again, know more and learn more. And, I remember one of Sai Baba's teachings being know yourself. And so that really stuck with me my whole life, I think. And also, all of the stories of the other worlds, like the fairies and the demon, the gods, the goddesses, all of that mythology really just it felt so real and so true. And so that's the stuff that got me really excited and happy. And I don't know, I guess it took me out of, the stuff that was happening around me in this physical realm, and just helped me connect to another dimension. And I was really comfortable there. And again, I knew that to be true. I didn't need to be convinced of it. So I think, all of those kind of different experiences that proved to me without a shadow of a doubt of the existence of the divine was really the thing that made me happy and excited.
Mm. I guess you're very lucky to actually have that experience, because a lot of people, they don't get that to like way later in their life, right? Or never even happened to them. And here you are, very young, and like seeing all of this different kind of abundance and magical experiences that kind of just like opened your eyes to another world, right?
Yeah, completely. I mean, I saw magic unfolding in front of my eyes. It was really, yeah, I am really lucky to have that. And it wasn't just once, actually. It happened about 3 or 4 times. I don't know if it was just Nairobi as a place, or I don't know what it was, but right place, right time, whatever, that is meant to be. So yeah, it was exciting.
Mm. So tell us maybe a vulnerable story about your life or your business, like what it felt like when you're misaligned, because obviously you saw what it was like when you're aligned, and when like magic can happen. Like what happened when it was the opposite effect? Like how did you get back into that alignment again?
Yeah, and I think that's a really good question, because actually it's what led me to you, really. And so I ran a business here for about 10 years. And it had been going really well, and sort of the last couple of years, 2015, 2016, became really tough. I mean, it had been up and down, but those last 2 years became really tough, and everything just seemed to be going downhill. And I remember one day just sort of being in this place where I just literally put my hands up and, shouted out, just, oh my God, what do you want me to do? Because I can't do this anymore. I can't, this is not my life. I'm not meant to be struggling. I'm not meant to be fighting. People aren't meant to be, rude and mean and taking me for granted, and, saying one thing and doing another, and just all of those qualities of being misaligned. And it really just hit me in that moment that I wasn't where I was supposed to be, and I actually just really needed to align with my soul purpose. And it kind of just came from nowhere. And in that moment, I was so clear about it that as soon as I surrendered to that, so there was a big part of me that had to surrender to just, okay, fine, just do whatever I need to do, you need to do with me, kind of thing. And that's when that moment sort of hit me of, okay, I have to absolutely be aligned to my soul purpose. And then I started looking for how to do that. I mean, I kind of knew what it was because I'd done it before, and then I put it aside. But just that conviction again, that knowing that it was all about my soul purpose. And then I started looking around. I started getting connected to different people. And then you appeared. And then as soon as I saw, the stuff that you do around the blueprints of your soul and the DNA and how you did it, I was just like, oh my God, that's exactly what I need to do. And that's exactly how I need to get into alignment again. Because I'd felt it before, you're right. And then, so when I was misaligned, it was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. And in the end, I really had to make a choice between my business and being soul aligned in this new old way of being. So it was a really tough time. It was a really tough decision to make. Also because other people were relying on me. I had done the business, my husband and I owned the business together, and he was suddenly like, oh my God, where are you going? What's it? You're leaving me here. What's happening? And I was just like, no, I have to do this. I don't know what's going to happen or how it's going to happen, but this is what I'm doing, and you've just got to deal with it, kind of thing. So I had to deal with his stuff as well. But yeah, so it became very clear in the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think when you go off the trail, right, of the path that you're supposed to be going, it just gets so chaotic, right? Like it was just I described all the like symptoms of misalignment, and I remember you telling me like, I don't know what it is to get in my power again. I don't even know what it is anymore. It's like you know it in your head, but you couldn't connect with the heart, which is so disheartening for you, right? Like being so frustrated, like you want to go here, but like nothing is happening to even get there at all.
Yeah, and it was everyone from the outside could see what I was doing, and were loving it, and were benefiting from it, and they could connect into that. But internally, I felt completely disconnected from it. And then when I did the blueprints with you, I found out that my third gift is creation, is creativity, and that's where I was stuck. I was stuck in that creativity, in the having the office, having the staff, having all of that stuff, all those qualities of being in your third gift, and it completely threw me off. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Then what helped you to like move through your superpower? What were the signs, or like what allowed you to make those changes?
When I saw your blueprints, and my superpower being power was my first gift, immediately it was like this massive aha moment of course that's what it is. Of course that's exactly who I am and what I'm supposed to be doing, and nothing else matters. There was no question, there was no doubting. And it was kind of like, oh my God, why haven't I been doing this all this time, kind of thing. And it was so obvious. And so I think the hard part was getting back onto that path and staying on it, and doing the daily actions, and doing the daily practice to make sure that I was committed to that as well. Because of course I still had everything else on the periphery going, what are you doing? You can't just drop everything and start something new. And, so I still had all of that going on, but I just knew in my heart at that point that I had to stay focused on this. And that would be the answer to what I needed to be doing. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, because I remember you saying like how aligning back to power, like it just woke up, like, and not just something within you, but like everybody else too, right? Like it was like everybody else had to be retrained, and you had to like talk from a different perspective, right? I remember you saying like, I know what that feels like, but I don't know how do I say it? Like you couldn't even get the words right from your being in your power.
Exactly. I mean, I felt like I don't know, I had to start everything from scratch. But it was interesting because I already had it inside me. So it was just sort of re-tapping into that, and allowing that to come out again, as opposed to sort of scrambling around in the dark, trying to find it. It was always there. It was just that recommitment to it, I think. Yeah, that helped me.
Mm-hmm. So kind of like walk us through like what you do, like how do you get somebody back into their power, like how do you wake them up to their power?
So with the other modalities that I've been trained in, so I'm a theta healer, I read people's Akashic records as well, and now, doing the multidimensional healer training with you, it kind of all sort of also aligned itself. So I was practicing as a theta healer, and with that, I was able to really shift people's negative belief systems. So that sort of entails a minimum of 3 sessions where I sort of go into their first layer, and then their second layer, and then their third layer kind of thing. And with that also helps them get used to what it feels like to be healed, and what it feels like to have these changes actually then reflected back to them in their day-to-day life. And so, that's part of the modality, but it's really essentially that I'm able to reflect back to them what it is that they're experiencing in their body and in their DNA. They know that they're feeling something, but they don't know what it is, or they don't know how to express it. It just comes out as blocks or illness or bad relationships, or, you know, these patterns of negative people and toxic people around them. And so what I'm able to do is then just really reflect back to them what they're going through, and then be able to help them shift that in these different dimensions that, you know, we've been learning about and we've been talking about, from the Akashic field into their, all the way into their 3D, into their DNA. And that's when they can actually feel the change, and that's when they sort of are convinced about, okay, something's really happening here. And it's great because they start feeling things that they've never felt before, you know, even just, you know, those feelings of being able to let go of stuff. It really lightens them up. And, you know, being able to live without that sense of rejection is such a big thing for people, because we carry that so deep in our subconscious that, you know, when they wake up the next day and it's not there anymore, it's so freeing, you know. They just, it's amazing. It's amazing for them. And they realize how long they've been carrying it around for, and sometimes that it's not even theirs, you know. A lot of the time it's not even their stuff. So yeah, that's how I help them start waking up to their power again, is by releasing stuff that they don't need anymore, but also being able to guide them to what their soul purpose is, and what their, you know, what their dharma is. I mean, not everyone is necessarily ready fully for that deep soul work, but, you know, step by step, when they start being able to take back their power, they become better leaders, or better mothers, or better partners, or better in their business. They just feel better, they're happier, they feel lighter. So yeah, that's sort of the general trend. And it's only then that they realize that they're really coming back into their authenticity and who they are born to be. And most people don't even know what that is until they're in their 20s and 30s and 40s. So, you know, so it's kind of like a little amount of work has such a big shift in them. And because of that shift, and they're able to take back their power and take back, it's not control, but it's, you know, that ability to see themselves in a different way, where they're not so hard on themselves anymore. So yeah, it's amazing to see all these layers drop off people, and then suddenly you see them coming alive again, you know.
It's beautiful. So it's really like allowing and releasing, and then like uplifting themselves to be inspired to do what their purpose is, right? But first they gotta be able to like let go of all that disempowerment, let go of all those like negative emotions and thoughts that obviously it's not really theirs, or it's, you know, they've just been holding on to it. And then they just start to see what they're actually supposed to move into, right? Like, and then you can heal them in different dimensional levels and help them to bring out their real work and like step into it and feel like comfortable in themselves, which is so beautiful. I think then it comes back into their authenticity, right? Like, okay, I can do this. And, you know, I know what it's like now. Like, I know that I can be happier. Like, it's like choosing it differently, right?
Completely. And I especially when men come in, because men have so many of these beliefs and mindsets, you know, around them, the pressure of having to provide for the family and having to be, you know, business oriented, when actually they might be creative and more artistic and stuff like that. And when they're able to release other people's expectations on them, and, you know, stuff like that, it's amazing how quickly they shift, actually. And then when that shift starts happening, they realize, okay, the ball is rolling. I can't stop it. So I just might as well keep going with it, you know? So it's great. It's really beautiful to see.
So how do you define success? You know, like obviously you went through a lot of pain. You have to endure a lot to where you are now. Like, how do you define it?
You know, it's an interesting question, actually, because for many years I was, I guess, hiding under this definition of success of what other people wanted it to be, and what other people wanted it to be for me, right? And I could see that they wanted me to be successful, but they wanted me to be successful according to their definition of it, as opposed to my own definition of it. So it took me a really long time to figure out my own definition of it. And a huge part of it is having the freedom to be able to do what I want when I want. And, you know, that's a lot to do with my power soul, absolutely. But, you know, it's that freedom that really, for me, is success. And being able to inspire others and empower others to truly live the life that they want, ultimately, you know, to step into their leadership role, to step into their purpose, ultimately, I think. But yeah, at a deeper level, it's much more about having the success, the freedom to be able to live the life, the authentic life that you want, and according to your, I guess, conditions that you may put on yourself about it, and not other people's definitions. So yeah, success is everything. It's money, it's freedom, it's laughter, it's silence, it's travel, it's relationships, it's all of those things. But I think they all sort of come at different times as well. It's not that everything is always there at the one time that you want it to be. You know, I think people who are successful are also able to take a step back and see their life as a witness, and to see their life from the outside and not just be caught up in it all the time, and get drowned by it, you know. So yeah, I think that's something that I've learned over the years, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that. I think like this is why I ask that question every time on my Leimomi TV show, because I'm like, everybody has a very interesting perspective on how they describe it, and I think that's what's important. Is like you have to be able to describe it yourself, not somebody else's definition, because obviously their definition, you know, is not your truth, and it's like always coming back to what's true to you. Is what's necessary. And defining success in this way is actually one of the thing that breaks you free to really stand in your superpower. You know, because my level or my meaning of success is obviously going to be very different from yours. And I think over time, when we actually realize that we're just very different beings and we have to define it ourselves, and once we define it ourselves, then no one can really touch you or tell you what to do anymore, right? Because it's just the way it is, right?
And nobody can tell you that you're a failure, and nobody can tell you that you haven't, you know, achieved what you're supposed to achieve in life, because no, that's your definition of it, not mine. And, you know, yeah, success is certainly not about 20 hours of work a day, and, you know, those old paradigms of what success was supposed to look like. It's definitely not. It's not like that.
Not at all, right? So what advice would you give to someone, you know, who's like really trying to get in their genius, doing their purpose as you have? Like, what helped you decide, you know, to work, to do the work that you love, to create the life and business that's more aligned to your soul, like to really be an expert in your industry? Like, what advice would you give to someone that really wants to step into it?
I like that question a lot, actually, because it took me a long time to figure that out for myself. And what was interesting is that I realized that it's the thing that comes to me most easily, not the thing that I have to work so hard at. And when I realized that, everything changed. Everything changed. And so, you know, if people find themselves, you know, working really hard and not going anywhere, or just like moving one, you know, baby steps forward and 10 steps back, then really rethink what they're doing. And yeah, I wanted to simplify. I wanted to just declutter my life and get rid of all that extra stuff that really wasn't working for me. And so when I did that, I realized that, oh, okay, I'm just actually supposed to do what comes most easily to me and not worry about climbing these mountains and trying to achieve all this stuff that, it's not going to help me at all. So yeah, I think that was a big like awakening moment for me.
Yeah, definitely for me too. I think that's how I found my superpower, right? And how you found your superpower is like, duh, like work less, make more. Like, why does it have to be 5 or 10 times harder?
Exactly. I mean, I totally love the work 3 to 4 days a week, work 3 to 5 days, 5 hours a day. And, the old me, I would have just heard voices in my head going, what are you doing? What are you doing? This is not right. But this also comes from a very traditional family business culture, where my grandfather would work 18 hours a day. And that's what that's what success was to him. My father would work, I don't know, 50, 70 hours a week. And that was the thing that made him happy. Whereas for me, trying to, having to break out of all of those preconceived beliefs and all that stuff that was already programmed into me, and say, actually, yeah, I can do 5 or 6 hours a day and be happy with that and not feel guilty about it at all. Was a big deal. That was a really big shift for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too. My family was always work hard, and even if you work hard, you're still not going to have enough, kind of a mindset. And so it's like relearning that actually it's okay to not have to work your butt off and then get paid less, right?
Exactly.
It's more like the other way around, which is like
Yeah.
work less, make more. And it's like, duh, like I can be so-called lazy, right? But it's more like being strategic, like deciding on basic things and how you want to do it. And that's why also defining success and these kind of things are very important, because owning your mindset is the one that's blocking you from actually having that amazing lifestyle, right? And you have to work on it within yourself. You have to clear it out. You have to change your lifestyle. You have to like live and breathe and embody a new kind of life.
Yeah. And also, especially in this realm, I guess, this sector of being healers and energy workers, and, where it's not tangible for people, where, you're not putting in the work and then you see like a product being produced at the end of it. That, that's something that people are still like, but surely, you know what I mean? Like there's a disconnect for a lot of people in that this career in being an energy worker is like, what is that? You just made that up. I'm like, oh no, I didn't. Actually, it's real. But you know what I mean? Like it's only now over the last couple of years that the world is finally accepting that, okay, this is something that you can have as a career, even though people have been doing it for so many years. Yeah, it's only sort of being accepted now. And even when people say to me, what do you do? And I say, I'm a healer. They're like, oh, okay. It took me a long time to get to that point of saying I'm a healer as opposed to I'm a media person or whatever that is. And now there's more acceptance around it, I think, as well.
Mm-hmm.
And more understanding, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So any last words you want to share with us before we go? How can people reach out to you? Do you have maybe something that you want to give to my audience?
Yeah, so people can find me on my website, which is www.soulfulliving. There's a double L in between, soulfulliving.co.ke. You can follow me on Instagram at Soulful Safaris, and on Facebook at Soulful Living also. And yeah, I have this amazing retreat coming up in October. So whoever wants to come in there, there's a massive early bird discount in it for you right now. It's $579 off, but please come and check that out. And it would be an amazing opportunity for people to come to Kenya and experience this incredible land and country and get an amazing transformation at the same time. But yeah, you know, I'm with also Leimomi's training. I'm doing these amazing attunements and activations and clearings. And, you know, if you feel inclined and you want to have some work on yourself done, then please get in touch. Right now, I'm really focusing a lot on the relationship between women and money. So I really want to work with people on reclaiming their power over money. And yeah, I'd love to be able to give you a free healing about that, on that. So if you feel like you're stuck with money or with belief systems around money, or you feel like, you know, you really need to shift in that, then yeah, I'd love to work with you.
Thank you so much for taking the time to you know, share your story. It sounds amazing of how, you know, even when you were young, you got those magical experiences, and now, you know, getting misaligned and then coming back into alignment and like sharing your new gifts. And it's so exciting to like see how much you've grown in just such a short period of time since we started working together, right? Yes. So everyone else, thank you for listening in. I will continue this LeimomiTV interview series of talking to other 6-7-figure entrepreneurs who are doing amazing things and sharing about their genius, sharing their stories. I think it's really important to really bring out your message in the world, and the best way, right, is hearing other people's stories and connecting with it and finding your own unique way of how your soul is meant to find your unique purpose and stepping into your superpower. And I love your business because it's soulful living, right? It's exactly what we're meant to be doing, sharing from the heart and living authentically. So thank you guys all. Have a beautiful day. Aloha.
Thank you, Leimomi. Happy birthday.
Oh, thank you.
Have a fantastic day.